Pratah smarami hridi samsfuradhatma tattvam Satchit sukham paramaham sagatim turiyam Yat swapna jagara sushuktim avaiti nityam Tad brahma nishkalamaham nacha bhuta sangha Tapo bhikshina papana Shantanam vitaragina Mumukshunam apekshoyam Atma bodho vidhiyate Bodhonya sadhanebhyo hi Sakshan mokshaika sadhanam Pakasya vahni vajnanam Vina moksho na siddhyati. Hari Om. We'll continue our discussion on this last day of our season. So today is the last class in this season in January, and hopefully we will cover the next two verses and complete the 20 qualities of a Gyani. Gyani के 20 गुण. यही आशा है कि हम इन सारे गुणों को कवर कर पाएं आज. And we had covered about 12 qualities. We were on the 12th or 13th quality. Just share my screen 1 second. Humility, unpretentiousness, harmlessness, forgiveness, uprightness, service to the preceptor, purity, steadfastness, self-control, dispassion towards sense objects, absence of egoism, perception of the pain of evil and evil of birth, disease, old age, and death, non-attachment. 13 qualities we had covered, and then another 7 qualities we will try to cover today. We will try to complete today. So this is where we had left off in verse number 10 of the 13th chapter. हम कल चर्चा कर रहे थे नॉन अटैचमेंट पर, डिटैचमेंट पर. हमने करीब आधा घंटा उसी कॉन्सेप्ट को लेकर के हमने चर्चा की थी, आधे घंटे तक. And trust me, we can spend more half an hour on it. We can spend few days on it. Non-attachment, detachment, central idea, a central concept in this spiritual journey, in this knowledge, in Vedanta, and perhaps the most misunderstood concept. What is non-attachment? What is detachment? What is renunciation? Renunciation, detachment is growth. It's a growth in your perspective. आपके नजरिए में एक growth है. That's detachment. That's all it is. The way you look at the world, the way you look at things and beings, the way you relate to them, that's detachment. And it's an outcome of spiritual growth. It's an outcome of knowledge. A Gyani is one who is non-attached. Non-infatuation with son, wife, or home. 14th quality we see. Non-infatuation with son, wife, or home. This is a related quality. This is a related quality to attachment. What naturally happens as an outcome of attachment, and we are all familiar with it. The things we are most infatuated by, the things we are most intoxicated by, the things we get most delusional about, the strongest source of delusion in our lives is with these things that are closest to us. Our children, our spouses, our houses. And the funda is the same. If you maintain a sense of trusteeship and you understand that you are simply intersecting. They have their own journey. You have your own journey. Your son is not yours. You are a trustee of your son. Your wife is not yours. You are a trustee of your wife. You have a role and responsibility in their life. play it to the best of your ability, and build a beautiful life. But they are on their own journey and you're on your own. Only for some period of time you'll have come together. So make that union beautiful. Marriage is a sacred union. Marriage is a sacred union where two people come together and help each other. The best service in marriage is when you help the other person evolve. Because everybody needs help, everybody needs support. You fulfill your responsibilities, you take care of each other. But what is most important is if you help each other evolve, if you provide that conducive environment for each other's evolution, if you provide that space to grow. Constant balance of mind in desirable and undesirable happenings. A Gyani has this beautiful quality, this maturity, this equanimity. His mind is balanced in desirable and undesirable happenings. How is it balanced? It's not that he celebrates when something bad happens. He's not a sadistic person. वो sadistic person नहीं है जो कुछ खराब हो, जो कुछ undesirable हो, कुछ दुखद हो तो celebrate करे. No. This balance of mind you will only be able to maintain when you are prepared for things. When you are not prepared, you lose your balance of mind. I repeat, when you are not prepared, you lose your balance of mind. Balance of mind doesn't mean you don't enjoy the pleasurable and you try to find some sadistic pleasure in the unpleasurable. No. What is desirable, what is pleasurable, what is joyful is joyful. What is unfortunate, what is sorrowful, what is undesirable situation is sorrowful. It's what it is. We're not asking you to reduce your enjoyment. See, people think someone who is balanced is one who doesn't enjoy the good things and doesn't feel bad about the bad things. No, that's not what it is. In joy, you must feel joy. Feel those butterflies in your stomach. Feel that euphoria. In sorrow, you must feel sorrow. If you don't feel sorrow, you're a stone. If you don't feel hurt, you're a stone. So it's not about the quantum of feeling. It's not about the quantum of feeling that keeps one balanced. Please understand this concept. It's not about the quantum of feeling that keeps one balanced. Balance has got to do with how much you are affected by something. Do you get carried away by the joy or do you get sunk by the sorrow? Are you able to maintain a slight sakshi bhav? Can you watch the joy as you feel it? Can you watch the sorrow as you feel it? That objectivity, that's what brings about the balance of mind. If you're completely involved, if you're completely enmeshed, if you have no access to knowledge, if you have no knowledge, you'll be completely carried away. You'll be completely carried away. But if you have knowledge of the truths of life, automatically you'll feel the joy, you'll feel the sorrow, but at the same time, you'll be at a slight distance. You'll be watching it. That's the beauty. That's the beauty. So what is this knowledge? This knowledge is what prepares you for any eventuality. When you are not prepared, you are completely involved and you get carried away. When you are prepared, when you understand the fluctuations of life, first of all, first thing, a Gyani is completely aware that this universe is a flux of change. This universe is a flux of change. Nothing remains constant. Nothing remains constant. Whatever exists today, good or bad, is going to change tomorrow. Whatever remains today, whatever exists today, is going to change tomorrow. Secondly, this world is made up of dvandvas. The world is dvandvas, opposites. You can't have joy without sorrow. You can't have profit without loss. You can't have pain without enjoyment. You can't have desirable happenings without undesirable happenings. This is the flow of life. This is the flow of life, and no one can change it. This is the flow of life, and no one can change it. You can't have only profit, and no loss. You can't have, and simultaneously, you won't have only loss. There will be profit. If you continue working, if you don't simply give up, there will be profit, no doubt about it. So this world is a mix of opposites. It's made up of these pairs of opposites. You can't expect only one and not the other. And it's a flux of change. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. Everything passes. Everything passes. This knowledge is what prepares a Gyani for the inevitable. This knowledge is what prepares a Gyani for changes that will happen, that will come. And when you are prepared for change, you maintain balance of mind. When you are prepared for change, you maintain balance of mind. When you are unprepared for change, when you are unwilling to change, when you do not anticipate the change, you'll be affected. You lose your balance of mind. So, a Gyani is one. He has this objectivity. He has this balance of mind. Why? Because he's prepared. And carrying on to verse number 11. So 13, 14, 15. 15 qualities have been covered. 5 more to go. Verse number 11. Mai chananya yogena bhaktiravya-bhicharini vivikta desha sevitvam aratirjana samsadi. Mai chananya yogena bhaktiravya-bhicharini vivikta desha sevitvam aratirjana samsadi. मुझ में अनन्य योग द्वारा अनुशासित भक्ति तथा एकांत स्थान में रहना, जन समुदाय से अप्रीति, unswerving devotion to me by steadfast yoga, quality number 16, resorting to solitary place, quality number 17, and distaste for crowd of people. Distaste for crowd of people. A little controversial quality. When they read these qualities, they think, Jnani is one who only likes to be alone. A Jnani judges people. Distaste for crowd almost means hate for crowd. Quite different from what we had learned in a bhakta. A bhakta is one who is encompassing and involving everyone, including everyone. He hates no beings. So it almost seems like an opposite, a contradiction. But we'll remove that contradiction. There is no such contradiction. We'll explain what he means by this. First of all, unswerving devotion to me by steadfast yoga. Ananya bhakti. Unswerving devotion. No other interest. No other interest. No compromise. Now you tell me, is this the quality of a Gyani or is this the quality of a Bhakta? Unswerving devotion. So this only drives home my point once again. The qualities of a Bhakta and the qualities of a Gyani are only indicative of qualities of a spiritually evolved person. There is no separate person who is a Bhakta. There is no separate person who is a Gyani. Within you, you have a body, mind, and intellect with which you feel emotions, with which you think thoughts and ideas and conceive and plan and program and develop a worldview, and with which you perform actions through your body. So you have a tool for feelings and emotions and desires. You have a tool for thoughts and ideas and concepts and ideologies. and you have a tool to perform activity. With your body, you must embody karma yoga. Through your actions, you must embody karma yoga. Through your mind, you must embody bhakti yoga, develop the qualities of a bhakta. And through your intellect, you must engage yourself in jnana yoga, become a Gyani. So there is a bhakta, a Gyani, and a yogi in you. There is a bhakta, a Gyani, and a yogi in you. You are not separately a bhakta, someone else is a Gyani. No. All these qualities apply to everyone. And therefore, this intersection, you see, this clear intersection, unswerving devotion to me. Is this a quality of a Gyani or a bhakta? Answer is of both. Why? Because those two are not separate people. They're the same person. So unswerving devotion to me by steadfast yoga. Ajnani, again, similar to when we discussed this for a bhakta. He's not casual about this. This is not a passing interest. When love is shallow, when it is an infatuation, it is a passing interest. True love requires effort. True devotion, true love requires effort. Love is not what you feel, but what you make through your effort. Love is not simply the infatuation you feel, but what you make through your effort. So unswerving devotion. Devotion and love are the same emotion. Devotion is affection directed to the higher. Love is affection directed to the lower or equal. I repeat, devotion is affection directed toward the higher. Love is affection directed towards your equals or lower. You love your pets. You love your spouse. You love your house. You are devoted to your guru. You are devoted to your parents. You are devoted to your society, your community, your nation. So unswerving devotion is that same affection, but it's not a superficial affection. It's unswerving. It has depth in it. It is backed by conviction. It is not a passing casual interest like an infatuation. It is not mere attachment. Unswerving devotion to me by steadfast yoga. He practices what he preaches. The unswerving devotion comes from what? How is it implemented? By steadfast yoga, by consistent and constant pursuit of this path, maintaining a discipline, following a schedule. You must study this daily. You must engage in these thoughts daily. You must try to have a basic schedule. Make this your first engagement early in the morning. Half an hour. Not more than that. You don't need more than that. Half an hour. That steadfastness, that consistency. Regulate and moderate your life's activities. Prioritize. What do you prioritize? What is important? You must do everything. No one is asking you to stop doing anything. No one is asking you to stop watching movies or going to parties or doing X, Y, Z. No. But what do you prioritize? What comes first? Given a conflict between two, what will you choose? Given a conflict between two, what will you choose? That conviction, that constancy, that steadfastness is clearly seen in the Gyani. He prioritizes his spiritual evolution. He prioritizes his spiritual path. Resorting to solitary place. A Gyani is one who has achieved this ability to remain in solitude, to remain in a solitary place. This is an effect of growth. Not many people are qualified to remain in a solitary place. Not many people are qualified to remain in a solitary place, to remain by yourself. Mhm. अरे उसे अकेले मत छोड़ो, वो बोर हो जाएगा. It's true. Most people are not able to stay by themselves. Most people need the company of others. Very few people are able to remain in solitude. Even solitude need not mean physical solitude. Huh? Need not mean a physical solitary place. A Gyani is one who can also be in a mentally solitary place. A mentally solitary place where he is in his own thoughts, unaffected by the happenings outside, undisturbed by the happenings outside, resorting to solitary place. So this is a quality that comes out of growth. Not everyone is capable of it. It's not an easy quality to remain unaffected by the environment around you and to remain independent of contact, to remain independent of companionship, to remain independent of the need to interact and engage. Ultimately, a Gyani is on the path of evolution. He is pursuing the state of meditation. He's pursuing the state of meditation. He doesn't want any other distraction. He doesn't want any other distraction. Everything else that comes in the way is a distraction. So he resorts to a solitary place with that idea to meditate in peace. But not many people are capable of it. We keep saying that. You must not meditate unprepared. Similarly, you must not resort to a solitary place unprepared. Please don't. So long as you have a lot of desires, a lot of vasanas, you are dependent on the company of others. Yet, you must practice this. You must practice this. Try to spend some time with yourself. Maybe half an hour a day. Go for a walk. Stay with your own thoughts. बात करो अपनी तन्हाई से. मैं और मेरी तन्हाई अक्सर बातें किया करते हैं. Famous lines. Become comfortable with your own thoughts. Go inward. That capacity to just temporarily cut the world out. Resorting to a solitary place, a meditative place, a quiet place, not allowing the disturbances and distractions of the world enter you. If any thought enters, gently dismiss it. A place, what is a solitary place? A solitary place is a place with less disturbances. It's just that. Where there is not much disturbance. A distaste for crowd of people. A distaste for crowd of people. One will read this and think, oh, Gyani is such a arrogant person. Huh? Such an arrogant person. He judges people. He doesn't like the company of people. That's not true. That's not true. See, he doesn't have a distaste for people. He has a distaste for a crowd. There's a reason. He has a distaste for a crowd. What is a crowd? Who is a crowd? A crowd is one which has a herd mentality. A crowd is one which has a herd mentality, where nobody's thinking for themselves. You cannot explain anything to a crowd. You can only manipulate a crowd. You cannot communicate anything to a crowd. You cannot try to make them introspect and reason on their own thoughts. What can you do? You can only play with their emotions. You can only play with their emotions. If you've read Julius Caesar by Shakespeare. Or if you watched any speech by a politician, that's also, you can refer to that also. But if you've read Julius Caesar by Shakespeare and you've heard Mark Antony's speech, Julius Caesar में क्या होता है? Everybody, Caesar has been murdered by some other politicians. Caesar has been murdered. And those politicians, of course, naturally, the crowd is angry. Caesar was their king. They've murdered him. So they are angry. And that those few senators, politicians, are able to convince the crowd. The crowd is so easy to get convinced. कुछ भी बोल दो, थोड़ा manipulate कर दो, थोड़े emotion के साथ खेल दो, the crowd will get convinced. And the crowd starts feeling that these people have done the greatest service to the nation by killing Caesar, by assassinating Caesar. And then comes Mark Antony. And then comes Mark Antony to the pulpit to speak. And first, when he starts speaking, there comes warning for the crowd. Dare you say anything against Brutus? Dare you say anything against the senators? Senators who killed Caesar. And Mark Antony, very cleverly, very cautiously, he doesn't directly attack them. He says, no, I am very grateful to the senators who have allowed me to come and speak in this in this pulpit. I come here to grieve my friend, not to criticize these people. So he makes that very clear. And then you should read the speech, how he slowly puts in seeds of doubt. He puts in seeds of doubt into the crowd. He manipulates them the completely other way. And by the end of his speech, the same crowd that was completely for the senators and against the Julius Caesar, in a matter of a few minutes, by the end of Mark Antony's speech, by his manipulation, they are completely enraged against the senators. They want to burn everything down. They want to cause a riot. Very interesting how Mark Antony changed their minds. He also tempted them. He fed their ego also. He said, don't you know what Caesar has left behind for you? So many gardens to enjoy in your national capital. So many gold coins. What has he left these gold coins for? All these treasures. He wanted to distribute everything to you. You are his heirs. He fed the greed. The point being that a crowd is one that doesn't really have an intellect of its own. A crowd is a herd instinct. A crowd is easily manipulated. You can't communicate knowledge to a crowd. You can't engage. You can't have independent thinking in a crowd. And that is distasteful to a Gyani. That is what is distasteful to a Gyani. Nobody in the crowd has a character of their own. Nobody in the crowd has a character of their own. Only one who steps out of the crowd, and stands apart, has an independent opinion. That is a sign of character. That is a sign of character. When your opinions and thoughts are not shaped by those around you, when your thoughts and ideas are not simply a carbon copy, half the things we believe, half the things we follow, half the things we value is because others value them. It's because it is accepted in society. And I'm not saying you should reject what is accepted in society. I'm not saying you should disagree with what a crowd of people agree with. I'm saying you should have that quality to think for yourself and come to your own conclusion. Now, so long as you are part of the crowd, you gain your identity from the crowd. You gain your validation from the crowd. That capacity to stand apart and think for yourself is a virtue. That is what a Gyani appreciates. A Gyani has a distaste for someone who is stuck in the crowd. Has a distaste for someone who simply follows the herd instinct. A Gyani has nothing to talk to them about. What will he talk to them about? Gyani only wants to convey knowledge, only wants to engage in deep discussion, not someone who is simply a product of the herd. So, three more qualities: unswerving devotion to me by steadfast yoga, resorting to a solitary place, and distaste for a crowd of people. And we'll conclude with the final two qualities of a Gyani. We've covered 18 qualities, and we come to the final two qualities in verse number 12, chapter 13, 20 qualities of a Gyani. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam tattva jnanartha darshanam etad jnanamiti proktam ajnanam yadatonyatha. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam tattva jnanartha darshanam etad jnanamiti proktam अज्ञानम यदतो न्यथा. अध्यात्म ज्ञान में नित्यता, तत्व ज्ञान में मकसद को देखना, वह यह ज्ञान है. जो इससे विपरीत है वह अज्ञान माना गया है. Constancy in self knowledge and a perception of end of true knowledge. Constancy in self knowledge and a perception of the end of true knowledge, the final two qualities of a jnani. And he concludes by saying, this, all these qualities, this is declared to be knowledge. And what is opposed to this is ignorance. So constancy in self-knowledge, a sense of consistency, a sense of discipline, a shraddha. This is nothing but shraddha. Now again ask yourself, is that a bhakta or a jnani? The deepest of shraddha. Shraddha is that capacity in you to remain on the path until you reach your destination. Shraddha is that dedication with which you continue on your journey. You reach the end of something. You keep pursuing it until you conclude it. That constancy on the path is Shraddha. So this is nothing but Shraddha. Constancy in self-knowledge. Not a part-time pastime, not a casual passing interest. A Gyani is one who is determined. You recall that chart. Recall that chart. Let me see if I can pull it out for you. The 7 stages of spiritual evolution. The 7 stages in the spiritual path. You go from bhoga to yoga to uparati to dharana to dhyana to samadhi to mahasamadhi. These are stages and they don't happen overnight. They take an entire lifetime. So your path, you have to, at every time as a seeker, as a sadhak, you have to ascertain where do you fall? Where are you currently? And which direction are you moving in? Are you moving in the right direction? A jnani is one who is constant on this path. He may have reached the state of uparati. He may have achieved the state of dharana, but he will not stop until he attains samadhi. He will not stop until he attains samadhi. That quality, that consistency, that constancy, not a part-time pastime. His entire life revolves around this. His entire effort revolves around this. Just like any person whose life revolves around their business, whose life revolves around their work. This is the primary purpose. This is the primary objective of a jnani. Constancy in self-knowledge. And final quality, the perception of the end of true knowledge. A perception of the end of true knowledge. Vedanta. Veda, Anta. The end of knowledge. The culmination of knowledge. That knowledge, having known which, everything is known. There is no end to terrestrial knowledge. There is no end to worldly knowledge. You do a 3-year course in computer science. You think you're completed? You think you're done with your knowledge? You have to learn throughout your life and you have to continue learning. There is no end to terrestrial knowledge. You think the little bit of history you've learned and that's it. You'll have to keep learning. You'll have to keep understanding. Whether you are in the scientific field, whether you are in the social sciences, whether you are in the philosophy field, wherever you are, whichever field you are in, there is no end to worldly knowledge. And you must ask your question. You must ask the question, what are you wanting to know? What are you wanting to know? What are you wanting to understand? What is the purpose of gaining this knowledge? What is the purpose of gaining this knowledge? Most people gain knowledge to earn a livelihood. For most, knowledge is a means of livelihood. This is not right or wrong. This is not right or wrong. What we're saying is that is not the ultimate knowledge. It's as simple as that. Yes, that knowledge serves a purpose. It brings you clarity. It gives you a sense of understanding. It develops your worldview. But it's not the ultimate knowledge. A Gyani is one who is oriented to that knowledge, having known which, nothing else needs to be known. That knowledge which unravels the mystery of life. The highest knowledge is that which unravels the mystery of life. First of all, are you aware of this mystery? This world you have been dropped into, this life you are living, this universe that is existing, it's a mystery. Where have you come from? Where are you going? Why have you come here? What is your purpose? How long will you stay here? Where will you go after this? What am I truly seeking? What am I truly seeking? These deep questions are those addressed by Vedanta. And that's why it's been given the name Vedanta, because once you gain the ultimate knowledge, once you establish yourself on this journey and reach its culmination, that's it. That's it. This is the finale. So a Gyani, even though he might be interested in physics and chemistry and mathematics and computer science or whatever, and he might be doing that on the side. There's nothing right or wrong about it. He might be continuing to do that on the side, but his subtle intellect is always attuned to Vedanta. Now, when I say Vedanta, I'm not saying only Bhagavad Gita. I'm not saying only, someone whose subtle intellect is awakened to spiritual knowledge, wherever that comes from. Knowledge is everywhere. Spiritual knowledge is everywhere. I'm only using Vedanta as a sense of this philosophy, this idea of answering these questions that reveal the mystery, unravel the mystery of life. A perception of the end of true knowledge. Someone who knows that no amount of worldly knowledge will make him reach the end. The answer is not in terrestrial knowledge. The answer is not in technical knowledge. The answer lies in spiritual knowledge. And knowledge doesn't mean simply intellectually understanding. Knowledge doesn't mean simply analytically having some level of understanding. True knowledge is one which you implement in your life. True knowledge is one which you embody. True knowledge is one which you live. It's easy to have knowledge of these qualities, but to absorb and imbibe them is true knowledge. So what is that knowledge which will unravel this entire mystery, which will end this cycle, which will reveal to me the answers to all these questions? Vedanta. The perception of Vedanta. It's very clear in a Gyani's head. whatever he's doing, all well and good. But his ultimate purpose in life is to get to the bottom of this, reach the end, culmination of Vedanta, attain that state of samadhi. That is his purpose. This, he says, this is declared to be knowledge. All these 20 qualities is declared to be knowledge. And what is opposed to these 20 qualities, what is opposed to these virtues, is considered ignorance. Remember, Arjuna started by asking 6 questions. What is Kshetra? What is Kshetragnya? What is Prakriti? What is Purusha? What is Jnanam? What is Nyayam? So here he discussed in the beginning of the chapter what is Kshetra and Kshetragnya. And then he started describing, and then he gave an example, he gave a definition for knowledge. He says, he who distinguishes between Kshetra and Kshetragnya is knowledge. The differentiation, the distinction between Kshetra and Kshetragnya is knowledge. And then he started describing these qualities. And now he says, this is knowledge. What is he trying to say? He's saying the only way you will reach that state where you are able to distinguish between field and knower of field, the only way you are able to distinguish between observer, experiencer, and experienced, only way to gain that objectivity, to gain that sakshi bhav, is through these qualities. As you gain these qualities, you'll become more and more capable of becoming sakshi, of becoming a witness, of becoming an observer, of becoming the kshetragnya, witnessing the kshetra. So this is declared to be knowledge, nothing else. No amount of scholarship will make you knowledgeable. No amount of scholarship, no amount of memorizing, no amount of lecturing will make you knowledgeable. Until and unless you implement these qualities in your life, unless you develop these qualities. So I come back to the same point. Pick up 1 or 2 qualities. Now you have a kitty of 55 qualities. Pick up 1 or 2 and put your effort. Measure yourself vis-a-vis those qualities. Measure your progress vis-a-vis those qualities. Any two or three qualities which are inspirational to you. Anything you are inspired by, keep them at the back of your mind. Reflect upon them. Reflect upon them. When you keep them at the back of your mind, automatically your thoughts, words, and deeds, your actions will be a little more deliberate. You'll be a little more aware of how you are acting, how you are thinking. And you'll be able to measure your growth. You'll be able to measure yourself vis-a-vis these qualities. So pick these up and do your best. This is where we conclude today's class and this season. We'll see you again next month. We'll see you again in 20 odd days. Have a wonderful month ahead. And we hope to see you right here, same Zoom class at 7 a.m. With that thought, Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.